the Higgs field, where the particle like the Higgs boson is produced from that field. The field that creates the Higgs bosons, the particle, a scalar particle that is interacting with that field. This is called the Higgs field, and when we smash into the quark to quark at high energy, so at the high energy they smash, and at the high temperature the field fluctuations are excited, and that interact with the quarks, and quark interactions produce the high temperature particle just around at the high temperature 125 gigaelectron volt. At that temperature a new particle is melting, and that forms for a certain range of time, and that particle exists for very short time, and this particle is called the Higgs particle, which is just with no charge and has no spin. So the scientists are calling this particle the scalar particle, and that particle can decay into the electron and anti-electron pairs and that particle also can be decay into the muons, the quark and anti-quark pairs. So it is believed that this particle is generating the mass, and it is the main cause of the particles are gaining the mass, like quark are produced and the electron and anti-electrons, muons are generating from that Higgs field, which is just being interacted by the Higgs boson. And this can be true that in the quantum field the fluctuations may be the form of the Higgs molasses, the Higgs field molasses, and these molasses are just fluctuating all the times and particles are interacting, which are the forms of the quantum field fluctuations only, which is also we can say which is the part of the vacuum energy fluctuations. That's it. The particles such as the gluons, the photons, and the W bosons, the Higgs field bosons, and the G bosons, and the theoretical predicted, which is not verified, the graviton. These particles are spin particles, and they are which is the vortex particles. They make the vortex in the field. They interact with their own field particles, and they are the vector particles, we can say that. But the Higgs field is just only the one species, which is called the scalar, which is not a part of vortex, and it is independent, but it interacts with the field fluctuations of the quantum energy. So this particle is spinless, and this is scalar, and all other particles are having spin, and they are the vector particles. And quantum fluctuation, or the vacuum state fluctuations, is temporary random change in the amount of energy in a point in space. There are the tiny random fluctuations in the values of field, which presents the elementary particles such as the electric and magnetic fields, the electromagnetic force carried by the photons, W and G field, which carry the weak force, the gluon field, which carries the strong force. Vacuum fluctuations appear as the virtual particles, which are always created in the particle and antiparticle pairs, since they are created spontaneously without a source of energy. Vacuum fluctuations and the virtual particles violates the conservation of energy. However, this is allowed because they annihilate each other within the time limit set by the uncertainty principle, and so are not observable. The uncertainty principle states that the uncertainty in the energy and time can be represented by the del E del T nearly equals to the half h cut, and that joule second, which means the pair of virtual particles with energy del E and lifetime shorter than the del T are continuously created and annihilated in the empty space. So the energy, there is energy in the empty space because of the quantum fluctuations, empty vacuum fluctuations. So we can say that if there is some field, there are some fluctuations, there is state of energy, there must be some mass because mass is proportional to the energy. So there must be such particles which are describing the Higgs field, and when this field is excited, it's massive, or this field is given high energy. Maybe the particles are just melting and they're fusing together and they are forming the new particles such as the electrons and the quarks, gluons, W bosons, G bosons, neutrino, antineutrinos, and the antiparticles. So when we smash the quark into quark, it must be they are interacting with the field at high temperature and they are producing the new particles. And like the Higgs field is the first particle which is a Higgs field particle. The Higgs boson is the first particle that is observed which is interacting with directly the vacuum state and that decaying back to the vacuum. So this must be the vacuum fluctuations or cause of the Higgs field, and the Higgs field is just generating the Higgs particle. So Higgs field is just a state of the vacuum.